let's talk about if-else statements. So, tonight we have a retro session. I would like to bring some beers, and because of that, I want to create a function that will tell me if I'm allowed or not to buy beers depending on my age, right? So, it should look something like that. Let's create something simple. If I'm above 18, I'm allowed to buy beers, right? If I'm not allowed 18, if I'm below 18, I'm not allowed, right? So I'm going to create a function. Can I buy alcohol? Right? So we will add some logic to it. So if we add a console log and with a message, can I buy alcohol, please? I will drink responsible. And then we call the can I buy alcohol function. Right. So if we return something statically, no, you know what this will return, right? At this stage, everyone should understand that type of function. No, right? Easy. Right, so let's make it slightly more complicated. We are going to send as the argument of the function how old we are. We're going to send a number. So how can we do that? You'll tell me. No, I don't want to talk about if else. I just want to say, explain a message. No, because you are whatever the age is. I want to send the age as an argument. How do we do that? Here. Okay, and what else?
And then call an age button.
Here. Yep. Now, what else? No, because you are, I want to see 16.
Should you not say under 16?
Let's go step by step.
Plus age.
Plus age, yes. Yeah, well, something like that, right? You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember, how can we do that with template literals, with string interpolation? Curly tick, curly tick. Curly, wait. Backticks. So with a backtick, right? We close it at the end. What else? Delete the H and put dollar sign. And the plus. Yep. Yep. Do we need a single quote here? No. Brilliant. We got the same, right? So this is beautiful because now it's simple to add some, decorators to the string. Cool. But now, obviously, if we do that, that will look weird, right? If I'm 56, that message is very weird, right? So that's why we want to start talking about if else. If you are above 18, you can buy alcohol. If not, you can't. That's the idea. So I'll show you how to do a very basic if else sentence. So you can do if age is below 18, return that. Else, we can return something else. You get that? It's simple, right? If else, if else. Right, so let's try again. So what should that return?
No, because now number 16.
Correct. What should that return?
Yes, at least.
Yeah. Wait a minute. If I save the file, that will help. Correct. And what should this return?
That's already on the phone. No. Yes.
Should be, yeah.
18? Yes, no, yes, no?
Yes. Yeah, but
Ye-
it's not equal to.
Correct. 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 That should let us buy alcohol. Correct. And what if I change that? You know what that means? You know what I did here?
Less than or equal
Less
to.
than or equal.
Correct. Brilliant. Nice one. Yeah? You see? We can't because we're 18, but the condition now is you should be at least 19. Thank you. Right. So this is the most basic example, but we can make it slightly more complicated. For example, if we look like we are between 18 and 25, they may want to ask us an ID, a proof of ID, right? So what we could do, we could add more conditions. We could say, hey, if you are below 18, definitely you can't. However, look at what I'm doing. Else, if your age is below 25, return, please show your ID. This is kind of natural reading, right? If you are below 18, no. Else, otherwise, if you are below 25, do that. And else, that's the default scenario, yes, that's all good, right? So then, let's try that. If we are 17, if we're 17, yes, no, correct. If we are 27,
Yes, at least 18.
correct. To be honest, that should be you're 18 and you look over 25, right? To make it fully correct. Right. And what if we are 21?
Please show your ID.
Correct. Yeah. It's not very complicated. So then question for you. Is there any difference if I do that? Is that necessary?
So it's showing that they have to be above 18 and less than 25.
Yeah. But
And both conditions have to be met for it to work.
yeah, but is there any possibility at this stage that you are 16? No. Why?
Because it's the first position was bigger than 18 and smaller than 25.
Yeah, correct. So if you are 16, yeah, I mean, we don't need that. Because if you are 16, this is already covered by this block, right? So this is exclusive. If this is correct, we return the solution. We don't care about anything else. It's like, hey, I don't care. I don't care about anything else. You are not 18 yet. Yeah, no, that's it, right? So even though nothing will change, in reality, let's keep it simple. We don't need that. There will be no difference. Of course, remember that we can add breakpoints, and breakpoints may be useful to debug what's going on. So if I add a breakpoint here and I run the test again, you see we stop here, we are 21, we get 21 here, so we can just have a look. You see here it jumped, it didn't stop on line number 5. Okay, let me repeat again. So I'm going to add a breakpoint on every single line to see where does it stop. I am below 18. No, you see, pop, it jumped automatically here. So I believe it will stop on line number 7. Will it stop on line number 9?
No.
Why?
because it's already got its answer, so it just goes off.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. The condition is satisfied, so then it doesn't care about any other possibility. So that's it. Right? That's pretty much it about if-else. Obviously, we could change the structure a bit. So we could say, let me change that. We could say, if age is below 18, you cannot, that's fine. But then here, look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to change that. I'm going to do the else. And then inside of the else, I can have another if-else, right? So we can nest conditions as much as we want. So then we can say if age is below 25, do that, else do that, right? Use is the same. It's pretty much the same thing, but they just change the structure a little bit. Instead of having a flat structure, if, else, now we have if, and then else, and inside of the else, then again, if else. But that's the same, right? That's the same. My suggestion is please stop having lots of if-else indented, because then your code becomes absolutely unreadable. Even that example, like that, to me, this is not great from a readability point of view, because I need to pay a lot of attention to really understand what's going on. So for that particular case, what I will do, you don't have to do the same, but in the long term, we will try to keep our functions the simpler, the better. Because of that, what I will do here is I will create another function called function can I buy alcohol if I am above 18, right? So I will simply cut and paste the code here, right? So the only thing we need to do here, okay, you tell me how to complete that. What do you need to do here?
The function in the enable alcohol if I'm above 18. Age 18.
So you want to call that function here?
Yeah,
What else?
Don't you need to put age?
Age. Like that?
Yeah, but shouldn't the age go in the top function?
Yes,
as well?
brilliant. Nice one, Dave. Exactly. We have to put the age here, because otherwise here we don't have access to any age variable. Good point. Good detail. So will this work? What happened? What do you think this will return?
It's just going to do the run the
Please
first
show
one.
your
that's
license.
it.
No, it should,
Please
yeah,
show
it should
the-
come up. Please show your ID.
But maybe there's conflict between two ages.
There's conflict. No, there is no conflict. What is the conflict? So
Well, if it's called, I'm not so sure, but if that, can I buy alcohol if I'm 18 that has an age argument?
Yep.
It's within another function, then I don't
Yep.
know if there's any problem.
no, there is no problem. So we go 21. 21 will be here. Then is 21 below 18? It's not. It will run else block, so it will pass 21 to the top function.
Please show your
Yeah. However, I think you are all wrong. This is not going to return. Please show your ID, and I will show you why, and then you'll tell me why. I'll show you how, and you'll tell me why.
because you have to put it return.
Exactly. Look. If return undefined.
I had that problem.
Yeah.
The return function can I buy alcohol?
Exactly. If we are below 18, it will work. if we're 11, it works. If we are 21, it doesn't work. If we are 41, it doesn't work neither.
But if you remove a console log and just call the function, it will work. No? It will.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I want to show the message here. I want to show the message completely.
Is the console log because it's in that function? Is that
No, no. The reason is if we are below 18, we are returning a message. But if we are above 18, we are not returning anything. We are just calling a function. Yeah, that function returns something. But here, in that line 14, we are not returning anything. So what do we need to do?
You need to put a return.
Exactly. You see? Now it's consistent. Return here, return there. So we will always return something. Yep. Let's try again. We are 41. Here you go. That's fine. If we are 21, please show me your ID. Right? That's it about if else. There is nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
It's not complicated, right? Questions?
Can you just show the ternary?
Yep.
That's
Yep.
the one off.
Yeah, correct.
Setting from really well on
Correct. So, if else, that's like the classic, right? The academic introduction to how to do either something or something else. However, in real life, depending on what you are doing, sometimes there is a shorthand. There is a way to display an if else in a shorter way, typing less if you want. We need to be careful because in my opinion that's not always better, but sometimes it will look better. So I'm going to refactor my function. This is what we call the ternary operator. That this is inherited in JavaScript from other programming languages. So ternary operator means I'm going to type the same. I can type return directly and then I specify the condition. So what's the condition? Correct, age below 18. So if that condition is satisfied, look, we add a question mark and then
Return.
we don't have to return because we are returning that already. Yeah?
I mean the statement.
The statement, correct. Look,
If the condition is met,
if the, sorry?
if the condition is met,
Yeah, if the condition is met, then return that. If not, and the if not token is represented correct by a colon, then return that. Still works. So that's exactly the same. It's a more compact version of the if-else sentence. But again,
Would you suggest that?
Yeah.
Would you suggest doing it like that or no?
In something like that,
So-
it's really short bubbles.
yeah, exactly. So if you are doing something very simple, it's okay. But if we are doing something very complicated, if-else tends to be more explicit, right? You can even do that on a single line. Look.
That's what I wanted to see.
Right? That's the same. If the condition is satisfied, do that. If not, do something else. That's the same, right?
Yeah.
You remember when we did the coding challenge, one of the things that we were measuring is elegance. So to me, this is not very elegant because lines are very long, right? So because of that, yeah, I think it would be better to do something like that, right?
Because that looks, it just looks better.
Yeah, it's easier to read, right? And even on the console log, we could split that.
Because when it's just one line, some people, especially now, imagine that, like the way how you had it just before, 100 lines down,
Yeah.
it would be completely.
Yeah, so with Visual Studio, if I'm correct, yeah, it got updated just now. Cool, nice one. Yeah, so you can see that with Visual Studio, you have I'm pretty sure you got that by default, but you got a vertical line on the right-hand side. So this is like a visual guide about how long your lines should be, right? So that's something that you should try to consider whenever you create content with JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. If your content goes beyond that line, it's probably a good time to split it, refactor it a bit. Right? Any question? No? So last thing for today is about switch statements. 99% of the times that you are going to create conditions, you are going to use if-else, either with the long pattern or with the shorthand. However, sometimes we are going to use switch statements. So yeah, I will just show how this works. And I may not remember on top of my mind, which means that I haven't used them for years, which means that probably they are not that relevant. But I will show them to you. So what we are going to do is I'm going to refactor that. I'm going to get rid of that function. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a switch statement. So we could do switch and then the condition, age below 18. And then here we can specify the different scenarios. So for instance, one of them is, what if, sorry, that's not correct. So here we specify the condition, the age. So we want to switch depending on how old the customer is. And here we can set the scenarios or the cases. So if we do case,
Case 1 colon.
case 1, no, it's not case 1. So
Oh, you did just do.
yeah, so you see, this is not a good example to use switch case. Now I'm just realizing. You see what happened now? So because here you specify the condition, so here will be something like below 18. Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
not
I would
going to
imagine
work.
you would only really use switch when you're like dealing with like routes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the functions might be a bit.
Yeah, so I mean, you see, that's why this is so confusing, because it's not even good for this kind of cases. So for here we could say case 18 or 17 return no. Then we can have case 18 return yes. But that's not what we want, right? We want to make something different. So let me just change the example. Let me just change the example for something more suitable. Let's talk about fruits. Right? So we're going to have a list of fruits with an object. You remember array of objects, so it will be name here, and then we'll have name banana, and then we'll have name apple. That's it, right? So we're going to change that to a new function called which color am I? So the idea here is, depending on the fruit that we pass, it will return you are yellow, you are green, you are white, you are whatever, right? So that will be very simple. You'll see why switch is convenient in that particular case. So if we pass, for instance, fruits 0, right? Then we can add a switch. So is that fruits or plural or singular? Singular, correct, because we are passing a single fruit, right? So let's evaluate fruit.name, the name of the fruit. And here is where we can do the magic. We can say, hey, is that fruit a banana, then return yellow. Another scenario. Is that fruit an apple? If that's the case, return red, for example. Right? That's the plan. And imagine that we could, let's see if that works. That's the first thing, right? Let's see if that works. So at the moment, I'm passing, let's send a banana first. You see, it works. We are passing a banana, so when we evaluate the name, it's a banana, we return yellow, right? If we send an apple, it's red. But what happened if we send a pineapple? What will this return? Undefined. Correct. You're right. Because pineapple is not mapped. We don't know what a pineapple color is. Because of that, we could have something here called case default. Case default means like else. Otherwise, return no idea. Right? So let's see what happened. It's not case default, so it's just default. Yeah, like that. Right? Case banana, case apple, default, return no idea. Here we go. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any question? I'm going to change the example a little bit. Look at what I'm going to do. I don't personally like, I'm not a very particular fan of having multiple return statements on a function, right? Because, because it's very, to me it sounds very aggressive. So here we return something, we ignore everything else. I particularly prefer to have one single return statement at the very end. It helps me to understand the flow of the function. So I'm going to change that a bit. I'm going to set let color. I'm going to create a variable. So if the fruit name is a banana, instead of returning, I will assign yellow to the color. If we're an apple, color will be red. And otherwise, the default case color is no idea, right? So then what do I need to do to complete the exercise? Correct. Return color. And that should still work. Yes, that's interesting. Look at what happened. I am an apple. I'm expected to be red. However, it returns that I have no idea about what color am I. Can anyone figure out why?
Put a break, I think.
You are right. And to prove your theory, we are going to add some breakpoints.
I don't know, the syntax in JavaScript.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll do that in a second. So look at what. So look, I'm expecting to be here. However, in reality, this is what's going on. So then my first assumption is, hey, why this line is not executed? I'm an apple, right? Okay, let's run this example. Look at that. That's even more confusing. I am red. However, in reality, I have no idea. Let's add another breakpoint here. You saw what happened? So it has stopped twice. It went here as expected, but then it jumped to the default block. So this has overwritten the previous value. As Norbert was suggesting, to fix that problem, we have to add a break statement after each case. So if we do that, break, we ensure that as soon as the condition is satisfied, correct, it exits the evaluation of scenarios, correct. So if that theory is correct, now the color should be red. Here you go. We can add the breakpoint again. We'll see that it stops on line number 9, but it won't stop ever again on line number 12. That's it.
See line number 25, why is 2 at the end and not 1?
Say it again.
See line number 25
Yep.
at the end?
Yep.
Why is it number 2 and not number 1?
Why is number 2? Well, I don't know. I can change it to number 1 if you want. What will happen if I change it to number 1? Banana. So our color will be. You alright?
Well, I thought it starts at 0, 1, 2.
Well, the thing is, this is an array, so you can reference any element of the array that you want. You can reference to element number 0, which is the pineapple. We don't know which color is the pineapple. We can reference to element number 1, we have a banana, color yellow, and you can reference number 2, we have an apple, we have red. What happens if I reference to element in index number 3? Undefined.
No idea.
No idea. Undefined, no idea. No idea. So I think it will be something different. It will crash. It will throw an error. Correct. Here you go. Why? Because remember the execution order. Which will be executed first? Line 25 or line 3? '25. Why?
But it's just a function.
Correct.
The function is idle.
Correct. Exactly. So the functions won't be triggered until someone invokes them. So it will first go to line 25 at a breakpoint. It will stop here. So then it will evaluate the argument that we are going to send to the which color am I function. We can see here clearly that that array of fruits has 3 elements. As we start on index number 0, that's something we already know. We know that there is no index number 3, right? So as soon as we try to access index number 3, it will blow up. In other words, I believe that line number 3 will never be triggered. Yeah, it's triggered, but it will throw an error. Okay, yeah, I mean, whatever. It's, yeah, not working because number 3 doesn't exist. Any question? No? So, again, my suggestion is please watch the video and more importantly, try to repeat what I did here. That will be the best way to prove that we fully understood everything, okay? Right? So that was it for today. I'll share the video. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.